in the Heights. Well, today I am taking a very rare mental health day and just doing absolutely nothing. I haven't even knit a stitch today. That's how, what I'm doing. I basically binge watched a Netflix series, which was really amazing. If you haven't seen The Empress, I highly recommend it. It was really good. It had some raunchiness in it, but otherwise it was really, really, well, I don't mind that stuff, but it was really, really good, really, really interesting. I found myself stopping to check to see if some of it was historically accurate. Some of it is, some of it isn't. Anyhow, so Gabe and I are just hanging out here at home today. It is Sunday, October 16th. Since I worked 6 days this last week, I really am feeling the need to just slow down for a minute. So I wanted to take a break yesterday from knitting the Stephen West knit along, and I worked a little bit on my daughter's sweater. So let me show you the progress I've made on the last sleeve that I have left. So I am now here. I've added, it looks like it's something like 2.5 inches of ribbing, maybe 2 inches. It's hard for me to tell these things sometimes, but I have a lot more to go because the other sleeve, as you can see here, is significantly longer. So let me hold them up side by side. Hard to do one-handed, but we'll get it. So here we go. Yeah, so I have a lot more to go. That's the Goudy sweater by Julie Knits in Paris. And I'm using some very deep stash for this. There you go, you can see. So yeah, so that's coming along. And the other thing that I have been working on a little bit this weekend is my Halloween sock along. So I'm using, the main color is the orange, black, and white, and that is a self-striping by Biscot Yarns in the Clownfish colorway. And the heel and this little bit of the cuff is Hannibal Lecter by Yarn Cafe Creations. Don't know why that one always escapes me at the moment, but it does. And then we have some, we're doing this in the pattern by Kay Jones called the Crunkle sock pattern. And I think I messed it up someplace. Seems like I didn't do the crunkles in the right place at one point. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I totally missed it. But that's okay, whatever. It's fine. They're for me. I'm not ripping back. So yeah, so I'm just trying to have just a little bit more of relaxation time. It's going to be a very busy week at work. We launch 1, 2, 3 sites this week, meaning we start classes for the first time this school year. So we have classes starting in the Heights, which is actually the closest school to my house that we're at, and that one is tomorrow. It's actually Gabriel's school, which is kind of cool. So we have a violin class and a choir class starting tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, I have to head to the Bronx all day. I have to observe some teachers during the day during one of our in-school programs that has already launched. But then we're launching an after-school program there's another school in the same building we're at. It's really interesting how New York City works that way. So schools are co-located. I'd never heard of this concept before until I came to New York City. So New York City has these some of them are really old buildings, and you'll have multiple schools in the building, like 2 different administrations. Sometimes it's even different security officers. It's really interesting. So yeah, sometimes it's an elementary school and a high school in the same building, which I personally find weird as a parent. I find that a little strange. But anyhow, so you get multiple schools in the same building, and so it's like they'll either split the building in half, or a school will have one floor and then another school on another floor. I mean, it's what's really interesting about it. In some cases, there's up to 3 schools in one building, so it can get kind of confusing. But yeah, so tomorrow the in-school program is at one school in this main building, and then the after-school program is in another school. There's actually a 3rd school at the school as well. And then on Wednesday, they start, we have one of our Brooklyn sites starts. So we're in that school building in the after-school hours, and we have a violin class, clarinet class. Both of them are returning, so they're year 2 classes, and we have a choir starting. And the choir is full of all these really, really cute, tiny kids. Some of them were with us this summer, and I was looking at the names on the roster, and there's this one little boy. He's just adorable. He speaks Russian. His family's from Russia originally. And so, yeah, just really, it's, you know, get to see all these kids, get to see my teachers, get to start these programs. So it's exciting, but it's also exhausting. We also have some board committee meetings this week, so we need to report on what's going on. And I'm also in the process of signing my lease and getting all that worked out. Yeah, so I felt that today really is a day that just needs to be a PJ day. Let's watch some TV, maybe do some knitting, eat all the good healthy food if you can, order in something for lunch because Gabe really wanted McDonald's. So that's what we're doing today. It's a real chill day. So I know some people might be interested in things like oracle decks and tarot decks and things like that. And if this is not for you, that is fine. I will see you next time. But if it is for you, there's an oracle deck that I use a lot to help me prepare for really big weeks or to help me figure some things out about myself. So the way I use oracle and tarot cards are a form of self-reflection. So I use it to take some time to kind of examine what's going on in my life, how I'm processing things. I'm not really looking for the fortune telling portion of it. I sometimes use it to help me figure out my own thoughts and feelings about things that are happening in my life and try to troubleshoot and problem solve. So usually what happens is I will ask a question like, what do I need? Like, what emotion do I need right now to draw into, tap into? What thing do I need to focus on? Something like that. And then I'll shuffle the cards and then I'll read the meaning, and then I will take from that and try to see if that aligns with what I'm going through. So today I'm going to show you this one oracle deck. It's one of my favorites, actually the favorite one that I use. It's called the Headwitch's Field Guide, and it's that's the book that goes with it, and it is the Headwitch Botanical Oracle. Okay, so what's cool about this really is a field guide. It has native occurring plants in North America, and you can look up the picture of the plant and it tells you all about it. There are actually recipes in here, how it's been used medicinally, how it's used just in general, like if it's used for pharmacological purposes, is it used in cooking, is it used in making cosmetics? It tells you about all those things, and then there's like a main meaning attached to it, and then sometimes those meanings are also attached to various tarot card meanings. So it's kind of it's a really interesting deck. I've actually learned a lot about native plants from doing that, and I can recognize some wild edibles now in my environment, even here in New York City. Not that I'm going to go eat things in New York City parks in general, because yeah, I'm not going to go pick a bunch of wild plantain and cook it or anything, because it's New York City and who knows what else is mixed with it because it's New York City. But anyway, the cards are beautiful. So you have different cards with different meanings. Just gives you some ideas of like things to focus on. So I'm going to do a reading for myself right now, and I'll share it with you. Okay, so what I do to do a reading for myself is I take my cards and I just shuffle them like a normal playing deck. That's how I do it. I know some people don't like to bend their cards, but I feel they're a tool, so I'm not that fussy about it. These cards only have an upright meaning. Some oracle cards have different meanings, but this one has only upright meaning, and it's an interesting deck. So I'm gonna ask it what I need this week. I really do have a lot on my plate this week with the school launches, with the Stephen West knit along, with signing the lease, and then figuring out packing and moving and all of that. So what do I need to keep in mind this week as I go through this week? And so as I shuffle, I just shuffle until I feel like it feels right to me. I just kind of trust my gut on that. And that feels right, actually. And then I cut my cards. Okay, and I'm going to pull 3. So the first one I'm getting is this one, which is Connection, for Foxglove Connection. The second one is Cohosh, which is Repel. And Marshmallow, which means Adversity. Okay, there's a lot going on there. So Then I take my handy dandy book and I look up foxglove. And for the most part, this is an alphabetical order by the name of the plant. I'll just go to the oracle property because these are really long. So connection, the idea is, let me see, I'm just looking through it real quick. So basically calling upon being aware of what's going on around you, reaching out to people and trying to make sure that you ask for help and stay connected to yourself. It says, remember that you are at your best when healthy, happy, relaxed, and fulfilled. This can only happen when you make time and space for each part of yourself to grow. So given I have taken today off, I think what it's telling me is when I have downtime, I really need to take advantage of it. And I also need to reach out to people to help me through this week because it is going to be a challenging week with a lot going on. I need to be just really open about where I am and ask for help if need be. Okay, repel, Kohash. Okay, so let's see, Kohash. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, so it's talking about pushing away anything holding you back or weighing you down, like negative self-talk or draining people in situations or destructive criticism. This makes a lot of sense. How can I say this? There are times in my life where I can be overcritical of what's going on in my life, but also there are individuals in my life who have a standard that sometimes it feels almost impossible to meet. And the problem is, because I'm somebody that cares very much about all the things I do, from being a parent to, working, to being a musician, to being a knitter, I have to just not let it get to me what other people may be saying, and I shouldn't let my own negative self-talk of, am I doing the right thing here? Or is this a good decision? Because I've actually been mulling over in my mind whether moving right now is the best decision for me. It is, and I'll tell you why. The place I live right now, first of all, it's too small for Gabriel and I. That's number one. But number two, there are things about this place that are problematic and have been for years, and I've just put up with it. So we have a washer dryer in this apartment. I got this apartment actually initially because of the washer dryer, because at the time Gabriel was not fully potty trained, and if you're a parent, you want a washer and dryer when you have a kid that's not fully potty trained. I also had an elderly dog, and so that would just make things easier, and it did for a long time. However, this washer and dryer broke in January. I informed my landlord about it several times. I worked with the person who was supposed to come to fix it, and that happened in January, and it is now October, and they have still done nothing about it. I have clothes that are locked in that washer and dryer that have black mold growing on it, and have requested it to be removed, and nobody's done anything about it. So my son and I are living in basically a health hazard right now. So that's number one. Number two, this apartment, because it is in a basement, it floods when it rains. That's problematic. And number three, which doesn't help with the mold issue. And number three, the final thing is, when it gets cold here, there is a sub-basement to this apartment that is not heated. This thing above me is actually our heating unit, and if you know anything about heat, it rises. So in the wintertime, when it starts to freeze outside, the floor does not get above 50 degrees. Therefore, Gabe and I are cold constantly, and our electric bill goes through the roof because it's electric heat. So it is in our best interest. So I need to stop the negative self-talk of being worried about it and just do it, because I need to be in a safe space for Gabe and I, health-wise. So yeah, so dealing with that, and I'm going to actually have to deal with some things, actually tackle some things head on. Okay, and then Marshmallow for Adversity, which is this card. All right. Okay, so this is associated with rest and self-care. Again, making sure I'm taking most out of the time I have. I think it's really telling me just chill out this today. Don't worry about today. And throughout the week, if you need to take a break, take a break. I think that's what this is reminding me of. And it's also about the idea that sweetness can arise from the most dire circumstances. So better solution, like better things can come out of bad things. And also this plant itself is actually one of the first plants. When crops have been burned in like in previous wars and stuff like that, when crops are burned, this is one of the first plants that will actually regenerate itself. And so it's talking about like how it can actually grow from the ashes. So you can actually grow from any adversity that comes your way. So just making sure you take good care of yourself so that you can come out of it well through all the stress and strain of everything. So yeah. So this is really a week of me just focusing on me not worrying about anything negative that's going on and just, trying to get through one step at a time. I think that's what the cards are telling me, and I think that's really good advice. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed seeing that, and I'm going to let you go for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day. Bye.